Is 14 minutes past 8, and you're still tuned in to Salam Media with myself, Salailo Makwideri. And we are going to be having a really, exciting guest joining us in a bit. We'll be joined by uMkhonto weSizwe Party MP Andile Mngxitama, and we'll be discussing his role in Parliament and the recent controversies that have, taken the limelight on social media, and also just discuss a bit about the broader political landscape in South Africa. Mr. Mngxitama, thank you so much for joining us. Welcome.
Yes, good morning, and also to your listeners and viewers.
I think first and foremost, I think the question on everyone's lips right now is Mngxitama is now a member of uMkhonto weSizwe Party. Where does this leave his role in the BLF? Where does the BLF fit in your plate right now? Is it still an organization of movement that you're a part of, or you've excused yourself? What's the latest around that?
We are going to convert the Black First Land First into a non-governmental organization, a civil society organization, which is going to focus on anti-racism and fighting the corruption of white monopoly capital. So Black First Land First will cease to be a political party. It will become a civil society organization in full support of uMkhonto weSizwe. We are planning a meeting where this shall be officially announced.
If you can, just give us insight on, what ultimately drew you to uMkhonto weSizwe, and how you ultimately found a home in that political party.
Your viewers and listeners would recall that since around 2015. Black First Land First was in the forefront of saying hands off Zuma, hands off President Zuma, economic liberation now. We went against the campaign of Zuma must go because we understood why Zuma was being attacked and why they needed him to get out of power. Just like they were doing in Brazil, the right-wingers, global capital, which doesn't want to share the wealth with the people, attacks those leaders who are trying to bring economic justice. And President Zuma was attacked precisely at a time when he was saying, let us unite to return the land, let us unite to bring about radical economic transformation. We know that white capital was so frightened, it mobilized 1 billion rand to buy the ANC conference to avoid the candidate which President Zuma had endorsed to becoming president of the ANC and obviously ultimately the president of the country. So our enemies, when they were taking President Zuma, organized us to be on his side. And therefore, when he announced uMkhonto weSizwe, we were very relieved and happy. And we believe that it will be a bigger political project because we need to organize the black vote. That is the only weapon we have to change our circumstances. And the enemy understands that. That's why he's sponsoring so many black political parties to fracture this big bloc, which is our power. And Black First Land First gravitate towards consolidating the black vote. And that is why we found a home in uMkhonto weSizwe.
The MK, for a party that was contesting for the first time in the national elections, did really well. But there's been a lot of criticism, to the MK when it comes to post-election negotiations, because the ANC obviously failed to get that outright majority, and now as we've been seeing the last couple of weeks, there's been a lot of horse trading, and ultimately the formation of the quote-unquote GNU. A lot of people are attributing the formation of the GNU to the MK's failure in negotiating in good faith with the ANC. Some ANC officials have come out and say, we tried connecting with the MK. They didn't show up. Phones were not being answered. The IFP said we've waited so many hours for the MK to come to a meeting, when we were negotiating for the KZN. How do you respond to this? To people that are saying ultimately the formation of the GNU is the failures of MK and also to some extent the EFF to come to the party?
Well, it is very strange, that these parties are so quick to jump into bed with our enemies, and a few missed calls would be the reason why they do so. No, the truth of the matter is that MK does not have in the ANC genuine interlocutors that it can negotiate with, because the ANC are proxies of the real owners who are white monopoly capital, and they are in Stellenbosch. The attitude of the ANC is derived from the attitude of the DA towards uMkhonto weSizwe. The project of white capital is to make sure that uMkhonto weSizwe and the EFF don't come close to power. We are seen as a threat, and it is true that we are a threat to white power, to white monopoly capital. We have characterized them as the enemy, and they are the people who gave Ramaphosa money. They are the people who are in control of the ANC. That is why the ANC surrendered to the Democratic Alliance. We must not accept this cheap talk of uMkhonto weSizwe not being available to go to meetings. Of course, uMkhonto weSizwe is making a big demand on the ANC. We are saying we will work with you provided you remove Ramaphosa. We are not prepared as uMkhonto weSizwe to engage with.
But Andile, some might respond to it and say it's a bit ingenuine. I mean, imagine if someone said, "Okay, we'll be willing to work with the MK if only former President Jacob Zuma steps down." Would it make sense to you if that demand was put on the table for the MK?
It must be a reasonable demand. It must make sense. And in this case, we are saying Ramaphosa was given R1 billion to buy the ANC conference. He is not a legitimate leader. He is there through money of the enemy. It will not help us to enter into any serious talks with a man that represents the enemy. We might as well talk directly to Stellenbosch instead of wasting our time with a representative of the Stellenbosch agenda. We are not prepared to do so. We'll not waste our time. We are here to defeat the Stellenbosch agenda. How can we then enter into talks with their representative? It will be counterproductive for the political project that we represent.
We are seeing negotiations between the ANC and the DA seemingly not, going according to what the ANC might have expected. A lot of people are saying the DA is coming to these negotiations, with some kind of heavy-handedness. They are arrogant in their approach of issues. We've seen in the media how, the likes of Helen Zille have been doing interviews and ultimately, painting the ANC as, the party that doesn't really understand the terms and conditions of the GNU and what it entails. They have, demanded 11, ministerial positions. And some are saying the ANC might reconsider the move to form this GNU with the Democratic Alliance and might go back to what a lot of people expected to be a reality, working with the ANC and MK. Would the MK still be open, to working with the African National Congress, provided that, they let go of the Democratic Alliance and, they go into the quote-unquote progressive caucus coalition of things?
Well, the ANC has a big problem. And its problem is that it does not speak for itself. The ANC is the proxy of white monopoly capital. And therefore, it is bound to be forced into this marriage, which is a marriage of convenience, but also a marriage that works for the DA. The DA has been the leader, ideological leader of the ANC since Ramaphosa became president of the country. And so they are just manifesting now in reality their ideological dominance through how they're handling these negotiations, giving terms and conditions to the ANC about taking the most strategic ministries. And the ANC is in trouble because its masters are saying, cut a deal with the DA, make sure that uMkhonto weSizwe and EFF don't get close to power. So the mandate of the ANC is to keep both uMkhonto weSizwe and the EFF out of power. And therefore, it will bend over backwards to accommodate the unreasonable demands of the DA, which are demands of a party which basically wants to take power. The DA is here to take power from the ANC, and the ANC is in position clearly weakened, and it is being put under extreme pressure by its owners, Stellenbosch, to accede to these demands of the Democratic Alliance. So the Democratic Alliance is going to take over this government and run it, and the ANC are junior partners. That is how Helen Zille thinks, and that is how Helen Zille treats the ANC. And if you look at the body language of the ANC leaders, they are a defeated lot. They are lost, and they're going to take direction from these racists.
I want us to take a quick break, but then when we come back, I want us to touch a bit on that petition that has over 3,500 signatures that has been launched, calling for your removal from Parliament due, to that past, many saying controversial video statement. How do you respond to that? But we'll touch on it after the break. I'm sure you've seen, social media doing the rounds on Twitter. A lot of people accusing you of hate speech, racism, inciting violence against the white population in the country, and others comparing you to that gentleman from the Democratic Alliance, Ronaldo House. So we'll touch on that after the break. I'm sure you've seen it during the rounds.
Sure.
All right. After the break, we'll continue our conversation with Andile Mngxitama. He's officially sworn in as in Parliament as an MK party representative. There's a lot more to dissect with him, so we'll take the break. Please tune in. We'll see you after this.
It's a wonder how kids get anything done these days. With all the distractions, when do they even get time to study? As a mother, all I can really do is make sure they have all they need to perform at their best. That's why I choose to include Sunfoil, triple refined pure sunflower oil with every meal I make. Naturally cholesterol-free and approved by the Heart and Stroke Foundation as part of a balanced eating plan. So whether I'm cooking, frying or baking, I know every dish will be a wholesome one. Sunfoil, now we're cooking.
Contact Lenasia Livestock and Poultry for all your sadaqah, akika and kurbani requirements. We offer clean, hygienic abattoir style and refrigeration facilities. Sheep, goats and cows are available at competitive market-related prices, direct to the public. We slaughter, slice and distribute in your behalf. But that's not all. Introducing Meat Masters Halal Butchery, our sister company situated on our farm in Lenasia. Unbeatable prices on lamb, beef and chicken. Lenasia Livestock and Poultry. Livestock is our business. We are SANHA approved. Telephone 011 857 1774. Call now.
After the recent attacks on Gaza, many families have been displaced with their homes left destroyed. Through your donations, our teams are on the ground in Gaza, providing support and delivering necessary aid to families affected. The people of Gaza need your help. Give hope. Donate today to Penny Appeal South Africa. www.pennyappeal.org.za 031 1100 573.
We are here on the ground with Penny Appeal organizations in Gaza.
Discover the Africa of your dreams and surround yourself with her spectacular beauty. Relax beneath her serene sunsets and explore wildlife at its natural best. It's where the pride of Africa comes together. The Kwantu Private Game Reserve. Get to know the Big Five or cruise on an elephant safari game drive. Interact with lion and tiger cubs and enjoy world-class halal cuisine while we pamper you during your 5-star stay. Indulge in the true African experience. For reservations, call now on 042 203 1400 or visit kwantu.co.za. The Kwantu Private Game Reserve, the place of gathering.
Valley's Motor Spares. We supply motor spares and accessories for all makes and models of motor cars, LDVs, buckies, trucks, and earth-moving equipment. We deliver on time, every time. Please contact us via WhatsApp on 014-592-0925 or call 014-592-0925 or visit 28 Zenderling Street, Rustenburg. Remember the name, Valley's Motor Spares.
Connect and stay ahead with Salam Media. This is Salam Media, coming to you live from South Africa.
Welcome back. The time is 8:30 on the dot, and we're still in conversation with Andile Mngxitama. We're talking about his role in Parliament as he was officially sworn in as uMkhonto weSizwe Party's MP, and also the MK's role as the official opposition. They'll be taking the opposition benches in the 7th administration, and Andile Mngxitama will be at the heart of all of this as an MP. Andile, thank you so much for staying with us. Before we went to the break, I wanted us to touch on that petition that has over 3,500 signatures that has been launched calling for your removal from Parliament due to the past, quote unquote controversial statements that, many are saying are inciting violence and, it's hate speech essentially against the white population of the country. Others are comparing you to Ronaldo House. How do you respond to this? Petition has been signed. More than 3.5 thousand people want you out of Parliament.
Well, there's a counter petition. It stands at close to 4,000, I think, itself. Mm-hmm. So in terms of petitions, it's a tit for tat. Now, this call for me to be removed from Parliament is a mischievous, right-wing, anxiety-driven project. It has got no merit whatsoever. Why must I be removed from Parliament? The comments that I made, AfriForum took me to court.
We seem to have lost Andile for a bit there, but yeah, I think if you want to engage with Andile Mngxitama, if you have a question that you have to ask him while we are still trying to get him back on the line, you can give us a call. Our studio line is 011-6800-355, and our WhatsApp line is 061-766-0355, or you can send us a DM on Twitter or on X at Salam Media. The show's hashtag is #news and views, or if you're watching this on YouTube, you can just throw in a quick comment if you have any questions for Andile Mngxitama. And I think it's going to be a really, really exciting time, in South African politics. And I think at the heart of all of this is seeing the MK ultimately taking those opposition benches. What role do you think they would play? What attributes of the MK do you think will bring something totally different to South Africa's political landscape sphere? They'll be doing essentially, they'll be sitting essentially where the DA used to sit in the previous administration, and they have the likes of Andile Mngxitama there, who are going to be the official opposition. So do you have any questions for Andile? Would you like to interact with him? And also your thoughts on that video. I'm sure you've seen it during the rounds a lot of times. A lot of people saying, if we can criticize Ronaldo House, for saying the N-word and saying, we should kill all black people, then should there be a double standard? Why is Andile Mngxitama not subjected to the same kind of criticism because of his utterances? Essentially saying that, kill white people. There's 5 of us for every one of them. I think if you want to If you want to see the video, I think you can check it out on Twitter X. I think since he has been sworn into Parliament, that video has resurfaced and has been doing the rounds. And I think, yeah, we can go for a quick break while we're still trying to get Andile on, but he's definitely coming back on. We need that answer. We need to know what are his thoughts on that petition. And as he mentioned, there's a counter petition also. This is from uMkhonto. This is an organization that are saying, well, they're protecting Andile Mngxitama. The issue did go to court and he was not found guilty of hate speech. And they described it as a persecution by racists. So in your view, what do you make of it? Does it constitute of hate speech? Should he be, treated the same way Ronaldo House has been treated? And also, send us a comment about the MK itself. Do you feel like they are the ones that are responsible for the formation of the GNU? Because, a lot of people said, the ANC essentially saying they didn't come out to the party as they should have. I can see Andile is back. He is reconnecting. As soon as we have got him back, I'll reintroduce him. Andile is back. Thank you so much for rejoining. We lost you for a moment there, but before you left, we were chatting a bit about that petition with 3.5 signatures, and also the counter petition by a petition started by uMkhonto, which described your persecution as persecution by racists. Your response to both?
Yes, the racists, as I said, are very worried that I'm back in the house, and they know my position on the land question. They are panicking. That is really what is this all about. And as I indicated, the matter for which that petition is circulating has been vindicated in the court, and I was exonerated. The court did not find any hate speech, and the matter was dismissed. AfriForum, the racist opponent of my agenda, took me to court and they lost. So I don't know what is this going back and digging out a matter which has been completely resolved. It is all about fear of my presence in Parliament, and also a desperate attempt to try to defend the racist host who has made those horrible racist statements. And so it is their fear and a desperate attempt to cover for their brother host. And those two petitions indicate the divided nature of the sentiment on the matter. On the one hand, there are those who clear that I must stay in Parliament, and I've been exonerated. I must continue with my job. And then there are the right-wingers, land thieves, who are concerned about my being in Parliament to push the land agenda. This is a political battle. It's got nothing to do really with my so-called being racist. They want to shut me down because they are scared that I'm going to raise the land issue very sharply in Parliament.
I think, this would be the perfect platform for you to, for those that might have seen the video for the first time, to kind of explain what you really meant. Because to some, they take it as you were saying all white people should be killed, all the wives and even their dogs, all of them should be murdered. What were you saying exactly? Well, if there's an ulterior meaning to it, or it was in a literal sense, what was Andile saying in that video?
Actually, I did not mean it in any literal sense. I wanted to focus our attention to Johan Rupert's call for violence against Black people. As I indicated, Johan Rupert told Gavin Mokari that he has an army in the taxi industry, and people laughed at that. Now, the taxi industry is where Black people, children, women get killed, innocent people, by the taxi industry. Now, this man, Johan Rupert, is not shy, is arrogant enough to tell us that he controls the taxi industry, and he calls it his private army. Now, that is a declaration of war. And I was saying, we will not fold our arms. As soon as he declared that war against us, we will retaliate. So it was a preventative call. Do not kill Black people. Do not kill us. If you do, we will respond. That's all. Self-defense is a natural right everybody has. No one should come and kill you. You have a right to defend yourself. And I was calling for self-defense of black people. And also, I use that inflammatory language to emphasize just how black lives and don't matter, how threats to our lives is a laughing matter, but threats to white life, put white life in that position, you will get a big reaction, which is exactly what happened. So I achieved my objectives of showing the hypocrisy. When black lives are threatened, there's no outcry. When white lives are threatened, there's a massive outcry, and we need to correct that if we are going to build peace and justice in the world.
How would you respond to those that say, well, Ronaldo House also, whatever he said, he didn't mean it in a literal sense. Well, he was suspended by his party, and the calls for him to also step down from parliament are also mounting. Why should we treat Andile differently if he also didn't mean it in a literal sense? Well, so didn't Ronaldo.
Okay, let him go to court. Let's take him to court. Let the court make that determination. On my side, I had my views and my motives. They don't matter. Court had to make that determination. Take the racist to court and let the court determine whether his utterances are protected by the Constitution or not.
Moving on from that, well, the MK now will be taking on the official opposition benches in the 7th administration. Firstly, before we get to that, what inspired the decision to not being sworn in with the rest of the Parliamentary House in the first sitting of Parliament?
MK is contesting these elections, and at a time we had a court matter which was dismissed, but of course we are appealing all that, and so it was not an opportune time for us to go. We are still going under protest because we are disputing the results of these elections. We believe these elections were rigged. MK got much more than what the IEC has accounted for. So that battle continues. We'll take it up to the international fora to make sure that justice is done and the views of our people and the popular mandate is respected.
And turning our focus now also to the fact that you'll be the official opposition in the 7th administration. What role is the MK going to play? And also, what are some of the key pressing issues that will be of a priority as the MK makes its way to the National Assembly that you're going to look to address?
The leader of our party in Parliament, Advocate Dr. Hlophe, has made a clear call for black unity in Parliament. So that's going to be our first responsibility, to try to unite all black political parties for addressing the major issues that confront our society. We will get that majority of black political parties, and then we will move towards amending the Constitution to make sure that land expropriation without compensation becomes a reality, to make sure that we have a share in the mining and mineral rights of this country. And of course, one of the things that I hope we can attempt is to amend even Section 1 of the Constitution, which gives which makes South Africa constitutional supremacy. Under apartheid, it was a parliamentary supremacy. That is why even they were bigger, they were above even the Supreme Court. They could sentence you, Parliament could sentence you to jail. That's why they kept Sobukwe year after year in Parliament, imprisoned through a parliamentary injunction. We want that kind of power to be returned, because white people, when they negotiated with the ANC, they castrated, if you like, our majority by making it a constitutional, supremacist, constitutional dispensation, which gives superior power to the 11 people sitting in Braamfontein in the Constitutional Court instead of the 400 people who are voted into power by millions and millions of our people. We have to correct that injustice so that we can rule and make laws to transform South Africa.
All right. I think we're going to leave it there. Andile, thank you so much for giving us your time and sharing your insights and being so open in addressing some of these critical issues. We wish you all the best in your endeavors in Parliament, and we'll definitely be keeping a close eye on you. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
There you have it there. That was Andile Mngxitama, official MP, who was sworn in just earlier this week. Really interesting conversation with him. And it'll be interesting just to see the MK now in those opposition benches. And as you were saying, they are going into Parliament in protest. They still feel like the elections were rigged, and that the MK got way more votes than what the IEC presented. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll be shedding our focus now to Kenya. We're following the deadly protests over proposed tax hikes. President of Kenya, William Ruto, has announced the withdrawal of the finance bill after so much pressure from the population of Kenya, largely led by the Kenyan students and young people. We'll be joined by Sophia Wabosha. She's a Kenyan student currently living in South Africa. We'll be chatting to her after the break.